Well, with me now, a panel of expert commentators. With me are Mallory Factor, he's a Republican commentator, and also here the Democrat and author and playwright, Bonnie Greer, and Graham Davies, who advises leading politicians on presentation and debate preparation. Bonnie Greer, are you apprehensive or enthusiastic about this 90-minute ordeal for the two candidates?
Ordeal is the word. The best way to watch it is to turn the sound down, and then you really see what's going on there. I don't know what's going to happen. If he comes on like he usually does, like the bear that escaped from the circus, it's over. And if she starts lecturing, it's over. So we'll just, we'll see what's going to happen. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. No idea.
Mallory Factor.
This is all going to come down, very simply, to trust and temperament. Can you trust them? Do they have the temperament? And that's really what it's all going to come down to. And there's going to be a lot of physical cues, as Bonnie so well put it, that's going to be talking to the American people. And Graham over here is an expert on that, so he can probably tell you a lot more about it than I can. But what you're really going to have to look at is who is speaking to the American people, not who's lecturing, not who's being bombastic. If you talk to the American people, you will win this debate.
Well, I mean, on those ones of trust and temperament, going in, how would you rank them?
Well, there's no question about it. I was looking at a poll. I'm looking down at it right now. 69% of the people consider it a very serious concern about her record of being dishonest.
Mrs. Clinton.
Mrs. Clinton, yes. And with Donald Trump, 66% consider him too volatile and lack the right temperament for the job. So these are really high negative numbers on both of them.
And, we were both saying that, I've been watching these things since I was a kid. I have never, ever seen two people in a presidential race who are the unfavorables are just they're enormous. It's just amazing.
I mean, Graham Davies, it sounds like to come out on top, the winners got to not be themselves.
Almost. I'm not sure whether to expect total horror or total comedy. It's going to be halfway between Stephen King and Spinal Tap. I think we'll see a classic confrontation between the prepared and the unprepared, with Clinton using a classic college debating technique of evidence followed by opinion, but with a third ingredient, especially for Trump, a hint of provocation as well, to try and get under his collar. And the three techniques that Trump will be using will be shouting, more shouting, and louder shouting.
You sure of that?
No, I'm not. I think there's a tiny chance that he may do the unpredictable and actually have prepared professionally and taken Clinton unawares. Of course, the media have spun it so that he's going to be the unprepared maverick being spontaneous. But I think there's just a possibility that he may take everyone by surprise and actually be predictably calculated.
But, the problem is this for Trump. He took on like 2,000 guys, and mainly in front of an all-male audience. The primaries were that. One reason that he slumped at a certain point was that Republican women were not sure about him. He looked like a bully. So he can't come out here. He's got Republican women back, but if he comes out here and piles on her verbally or physically, that's going to waver, because women elect the president of the United States. So Trump has really got to, if Hillary messes up, he's got to let her do it. He cannot turn and do alpha male on her, or he's going to be in trouble.
And Adam, Bonnie makes a good point, and that is that he
But one of the things he has done is he's worn down Hillary Clinton and made her this unpopular, crooked Hillary figure.
He hasn't met her yet.
So
he hasn't met her.
People may not sympathize with her.
I think a lot of people are not sympathizing with her, but Bonnie makes a good point. He has 90% of the Republicans now supporting him, including women. So, he has turned that around. She has some very serious problems, and the polls are telling you that she does. And the problems are very simple. People really find her to be dishonest, and his crooked Hillary is resonating with them, with the people. Donald Trump's saying crooked Hillary. It's not that he's making that up. Her background has a lot of problems in it. If he can show the temperament, if he can show a presidential appearance, he could win this thing big, and this election could be over. Remember, there's only a couple of states that he needs to take. He needs to solidify Florida, which he's ahead. He needs to solidify Ohio, which he's substantially ahead right now, and needs to either pick off Colorado, or he needs to pick off New Hampshire, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. If he gets any one of those four and keeps Ohio and Florida, he wins. If she takes Florida,
takes Florida,
yeah, she wins. Yeah, absolutely.
She wins.
Yes,
and I think for a British audience, what's very important to realize is the President of the United States is not directly elected. So we can talk about popular vote, which Al Gore won, but he didn't win the Electoral College, which elects the president. So this is why we're talking about the states, because they have to win certain states. And the toss-up is interesting. He should win Ohio, but we'll see in the next couple of weeks. Tonight is very important for that.
Well, we're just seeing pictures from inside the auditorium. The kind of formal proceedings are due to start in about 15 minutes' time. Okay, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Graham Davies, are there any absolute no-nos? I mean, do apologies work, or are they...
Well, I don't think Donald Trump has ever really apologised fully for anything that he's ever said in his life. And if he starts doing that now as a result of some presentation consultant's advice, it just wouldn't look genuine.
Mr. Nunberg, who was just on there, said something interesting about the Gold Star family. Keep in mind, he has as his guest Karen Vaughn, who's a Gold Star mom, and he has Mark Geist.
I mean, should just say for English audience, Gold Stars are families whose lost their loved ones in combat.
So he has a Gold Star mom as a supporter sitting in the front row, as well as Mark Geist, who's a Benghazi survivor. What's most telling of all, if I may, another network, NBC,
sure.
and the Wall Street Journal had a poll. And the poll basically says, what are the top concerns? And I'll just hit you with the top concern about Trump. This is September 19th. It said the top concern about Trump is not having the right temperament to serve as commander-in-chief. That he can show and change. But her top concern, with over 36% of the people, about Mrs. Clinton was dealings with Syria, Iraq, and Libya. That's going to be a lot harder to explain.
But let me just say quickly, let me put my theater hat on, because I work with actors, I'm a playwright. I still say nobody cares what these people say. I'm not going to go over to Donald Trump because of something he says tonight, and somebody who likes Donald Trump is not going to go over to Hillary Clinton. It doesn't matter. You turn the sound down and you look at these two people. There's going to be a two-shot camera, and what's going to happen is the camera's going to watch them watching each other, and it's going to be that undecided group who are going to be looking at these two people to see Trump temperament and see if she can make the 90 minutes. Because a lot of the whole mythology about Hillary is that she's not actually going to get through this 90 minutes. It's very crude what's going to happen tonight. She's going to have a lot of policy because she can do that. Trump is going to do his, simple thing. But basically, people are going to be watching them. They'll watch their bodies very, very closely. It's a very partisan audience. Mark Cuban is in the front row, and he has a really big, he's a big sports franchiser. There's a lot of dynamics going on here, and this is very unusual in that this is the only presidential debate I've ever seen where people don't care what you're saying. They're looking at you. Are we going to be able to dispel any kind of notions we have about Hillary's stamina, her health, all of this sort of thing? People are going to be looking at her body, and other people are going to be looking at how's Trump looking at her. If he walks out there without a tie, he's blown it. And I don't think he's going to do that. I think that's how he walked out, because his shirt was all hanging out and all of that. She's got her red pants. I mean, it's really going to be basic animal stuff, to be honest with you. And honestly, if you take the sound down, you'll get more information than if you listen to it.
Okay, well, let's just go quickly back to Will Jordan in New York. Okay, well, we can see Donald Trump giving his version of the results on Fox News at this very moment. But with me, a panel, I wonder how they saw it. I I think it was rather differently from what we were hearing from the spin room there. Let's start, first of all, with you, Pippa Margaret. What do you think?
So, first of all, Lester Holt for president. He won
He's
this
the
debate.
moderator.
He's the man from this debate. Second, I think Hillary Clinton scored the first almost fatal blow when she raised the "you're just a daddy's boy, took a loan from your dad," which he responded to, and his level of aggravation about that never subsided. I think the thing is, even if she won this debate, will it change the opinion of those who weren't committed
But she
already?
probably did win this debate.
So I think she maybe did, but I'm not sure it will change the voting outcome, because a lot of the things that he kept going on about in a roundabout way still resonate with his people.
Mallory Factor, what do you think?
At the beginning of, prior to the debate, I talked about the two key issues were trust and temperament. I don't think she improved the trust level that much. His temperament, however, he didn't improve that either. I think she won the debate. From our point of view, I don't know how it's going to resonate with the people at large. What happens, the big issue is that will it change any undecideds, of which there aren't that many? And second of all, will it get the bases of either of those people really energized to turn out? Debates historically have not meant that much.
I mean, it did seem to me she did two things. One was she did aim at her base quite a lot, ethnic minorities very clearly, women very clearly, and the middle class, painting Trump as a rich boy. But also she was energizing her base, if you like, and somewhat eroding his.
If she did that, it is a major win, and it could be the election.
Okay, what do you think?
I think it was a Clinton win almost by a knockout. She was presidential, she was precise, she was prepared. And I have to say, she unleashed a huge armory of laser-guided one-liners, and all he had in response was a waffling, finger-waving rant. She provided all the thunder flash moments, and he looked like the amateur he is.
Graham, you're absolutely right. She was very prepared, far better prepared than he was. My only question is, how's it going to resonate with the voters? No question, she was much better prepared, and she had the better one-liners. I just don't know how it's going to play ultimately.
I think the 2%, maybe the 3% that haven't yet made up their minds will have listened to that very carefully and seen the stark comparison in the preparation levels and the professionalism levels. I think it will make a difference.
What about, I mean, they opened with a long section on the economy, which Donald Trump sees as his trump card. How did that go?
Well, in the end, actually, their policies, we didn't really hear that there was a huge difference, right? They both
Well, there
want
was
to
a tax
invest.
cut versus a tax hike.
Well, yeah, but they didn't hear it. Both of them want to do infrastructure spending. Both of them actually interested in cutting taxes on some parts of the population, but not on others, right? But either way, they didn't get into the substance on those issues. What we heard was the word jobs, 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 with no detail around it. So I don't think it resolved the issue for anybody in that section of the debate. What I do think actually is interesting is that what she didn't display were any health-related issues. We did not get the wobble out of Senator Clinton, and that alone will give a lot more confidence to her side. And on his side, we got a lot of waffle, which did indicate that he's thinking while he's talking.
All his memorable one-liners were self-immolating ones, like, if I could be semi-exact for a moment, and then $670 million, it's not a lot of money. Whereas she would come out with, you do live in your own reality, Donald. And then perhaps the most telling moment was when she paused for a couple of seconds and said, just listen to what you heard. And that exposed quite a lot in him.
I agree with Pippa. I agree with you, Graham. But the question is, how will it resonate in terms of voters and turnout? I am not sure. First of all, I believe if we go out to that 100 million people, the majority will not have any idea of the policies brought forward.
Okay, well, let's see how it went down in Pennsylvania, a key swing state. Our correspondent, Cordelia, is in Doyle.